Hey everybody, I am back just doing a work in progress on my Knights of Gryphonne army. Essentially, I'm just really at a base painting point right now, and I'm just testing out different things. One of the things about this squad is, if many of you may remember from the fall, where I think it may have been during the summer, I picked up the Assault on Black Reach set used and at a really good price, and I had to strip down many of them. It was actually a really good deal. One of the things I realized, not having really played Space Marines or had a really close familiarity of tactical squads, and the nuances of what that set had, is I think there wasn't a missile launcher guy in there, and a couple of the guys were probably swapped out from other sets, because some of them are exactly the same, and then some of them are a little bit different as far as the Space Marines. And so it's not really a big deal. This isn't going to be my showcase tactical squad. This set I really got to just test on, because what I found with my Eldar army is that I oftentimes, when I was learning how to paint, when I was just learning how to do Eldar and stuff, I was, making mistakes, and my best work wasn't at the beginning. And so, getting these used ones in the beginning, and even though they were stripped down and there were lots of problems with them, like as far as not scraping mold lines and then painting over it and all that kind of stuff, this is just really to get my colors the way I want, my paint scheme, my techniques, and things like that, and to practice on. So this is what they look like so far. Many of you might remember that I did a bit of a which paint looks best video. In the end, what I'm planning on doing is using the one orange that was the translucent paint on vehicles, but I didn't use this on the video, but it's bright orange by Vallejo model color, and I actually like the way this looks. I think it matches pretty closely to that other orange one that I had. And it's funny, through the view cam, looking with the fluorescence coming down, these almost look red. But what I found in experience is when I put it up on video, the color's more accurate. But really, these are a very vibrant orange, and that's kind of what I want, because the style I'm going to be looking for is a very gritty look with lots of contrast. To I guess plug another channel, someone that I really like the way their style of painting and the way they've done their army is Templar Crusade and his pre-heresy Imperial Fists. I really like the look of contrast and sort of like a gritty look, but then also lots of vibrant color and character, like in the face and things like that. I enjoy seeing his painting, and so I wanted this orange and bright kind of color to have a similar look as that, because I like that. And also, one thing I didn't really talk about is painting a new army for me is a way of learning new skills and painting a different way. My Eldar don't have that look by any means. I mean, Eldar are not, I don't paint them, and most people don't paint them as a really gritty look. And so, and real the weathering and all of that stuff. And so when I do the vehicles and stuff for the Space Marine Army, it's an opportunity for me to work on those skills that I watched a lot on videos and other people do for their armies, but haven't had the opportunity, because that's not the style I would do. So lastly, before I go, this is just a work in progress. I tested two things that I've never done before or used, and one is pretty easy. It was just the technical paint, the Agrelin Earth. I wanted to just put some cracked earth down just to test it out and see how it looked. For those of you who have not had experience with these, it actually is really easy to use, and wow, it works pretty good. Look at that. I'm going to be painting over it. I mean, you can see the orange primer underneath it, because it really does crack really well. I'm another person that's a believer that that's a great product. I've heard a lot of good things. I've got as you can see, I've got the Griffin on the arm, and they don't make this. Like, this is not something I got from Games Workshop or anything like that. I actually found this on somebody's website where they made these for the Howling Griffin's army, and the Knights of Gryphonne is one that's slightly different, and I don't really care, to be honest. It's, to me, just getting a nice Griffin that I can get on there was actually just fine. And so, but I used the Testors clear decal set or it came with both actually, and so this is what I've got here. And just what I'll say is it worked really good. The first one I messed up because I actually used Vallejo's. What you're supposed to do when you use these things to make your own labels is you're supposed to print it off, you know, like on your computer, but then there is no clear topping because you're printing the ink on, and so you have to put a clear topping to make it work. And so I used my normal Vallejo gloss varnish through my airbrush, and apparently that wasn't enough, or I didn't lay enough down. And so what I ended up doing is I just went in and got the Testors matte varnish, because I didn't have any gloss that I had in my closet that I don't really use anymore, but it's good stuff. But I just sprayed it heavily on there, so there was like a liquid sheen, you know, on it, and let it dry, and then it worked just fine. It came off just fine. The other thing is, for vehicles, I think this is going to work really well. I just did this as a test, just on this one shoulder pad. I'm going to actually put some gloss varnish down on the other shoulder pads before I do the rest. I think it actually came out really good, like it's conforming really well to the shoulder, but it took me 8 or 9 applications of Model Master decal solvent, which I believe works quite a bit like Microsol. When I went to the store to get Microsol, they didn't have it, and so I got and they kind of told me about this, so I got this instead. But it took a lot of manipulation. I never had a decal that was as stiff as this, and that's probably because I sprayed so much of that gloss down that you would need to do to, because what happens is if you don't spray that stuff down enough, it just falls apart, because basically all the ink just goes everywhere. And so what I ended up with is a very stiff decal that I had to use quite a bit of solvent to actually get on there and to conform well. What I'm going to be doing in the future, I think, is just slicing the decal between the legs and between the head and the wings, and just in different spots, to allow almost joints in the decal to move a bit slightly when I actually start applying it and putting the solvent in, so I can get curvatures without wrinkles as much. It's actually quite a challenge, you know. It's piddly, you know, to get to work. And so I appreciate manufactured decals that much more now, but at the same time I appreciate the ability to do this too, because they don't always give you the decals that you want, like in this case. So that was a little longer than I expected it to be, but that's just a quick work in progress of Space Marine stuff I'm working on, and we'll be back with an update shortly. Bye.